can I just indulge me for a few minutes?
I'd love to. Yeah.
Sometimes we put up the next round and we just marvel at how good it's going to be. Can I just put this up at how odd the scheduling and inconsistent with the patterns of the season this is? So as a starting point, the addiction to Carlton and Essendon in prime time is laid clear. But the insults to the Giants and the Swans of putting the Sydney Derby tucked underneath at 7:50 out at Homebush is just of no help whatsoever.
Yep.
The Q Clash, Gold Coast have just played their biggest home game against Collingwood. How do you build momentum? Well, how about the most important Q Clash ever? We'll give you the really strange 1:20 Saturday afternoon, as if trying to thwart a huge crowd. It's just plain weird that the Derby is in the Saturday twilight slot. 2:15 over in the West. And it's disrespecting the showdown to have placed it where it is, underneath an all-Victorian clash, when it can carry so much. But the piece de resistance is what they have done on Sunday. There are only two games. They are both in Melbourne at venues nearby. We haven't been able to find clear air. The only start time of 2:10 for the year is Richmond and Collingwood. Oh, and then we're going to start St Kilda and Melbourne right there, just to make sure they're covered right over. If your kids brought you this fixture, you would send them back to their room and say, start again.
Sack them all, Gerard.
Tomorrow night, the round gets underway at the MCG. It has been enhanced as a spectacle by the emotion that Carlton will feel. Jacob Wiedering in game 200 and his close friend Sam Docherty in the navy blue for the last time.
He's been a significant person. You know, his counsel is always sought when, you know, we're trying to do things and to get his thoughts on things. He's been a really important mentor to our leadership group, and just to bring a different perspective. He's a deep thinker about the game, Doc, and he's very passionate about his football club. So, you know, we're hoping that clearly we go out tomorrow and you know, we can do justice to that.
Been dealt the cards of the villain for this one. He's obviously just a fantastic story. I think it's inspiration for, and I think the thing about Sam is it's beyond sport. You know, he's got the 3 knee reconstructions and come back from that, and you know, still being an all-Australian type player. But then obviously his cancer treatments and coming back from that means it transcends sport, and it's such a inspirational person that he's been. And other than the 2 hours that we're on the field, we'll certainly be trying to ruin his party tomorrow night. But after that, certainly think he's one of the players of this season that needs to be celebrated.
In late July, when you've been out of business for a while, you're clutching for a purpose, for a cause. Carlton have been delivered that tomorrow night. I wonder if they're able to honour it.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they will, but it only lasts for a period of time. And then throughout moments in the game when Sam's involved, and you know, we'd all love to see him kick a goal, or there was a moment in the game last week where he went back really hard and was involved in just an intercept. I mean, all those things are going to mean a lot. And the ones that are really close to him, you know, Wiedering and Cripps will be feeling it pretty heavily, and you can harness that in whatever way you want. But, you know, and then you just go dispassionately to look at it. They look better as a side with Akers and McKay coming back in, Evans out and Young, of course, but so do Hawthorn, because Sam Day comes back in as highly rated, Will Day is highly rated as any youngster coming through. So I think it makes it a more interesting contest for tomorrow night. There's no question about that.
So Will Day's return, as you asked Sam about this, is no VFL for him, hasn't played since round 3. I remember Will told us that he was trying to get back with a handful to go, and he has. There's 5 to go.
Yep.
The stress fracture in the navicular sent a shudder through everybody, but here he is. And what an addition he is right now for the run-in for them.
He is to Hawthorn what Hayden Young is to Fremantle, and I was really interested in the way that Fremantle brought Hayden Young back into the side. They brought him back as the sub, which surprised a lot of us, and I wonder what they'll do with Will Day. So Hayden Young sat for the first half just in his tracksuit. Did I say Sam again? Will Day. And then halfway through the third quarter, he's activated and was just devastating. He had 11 touches and was involved in that big play. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring him back. I mean, they will take no risks, so he's obviously clearly ready to go. And he makes them better, Gerard. This is important for Hawthorn. I've just slid under the radar a little bit in the last month and a half, I reckon. They're just getting wins without making a big noise. Will Day makes a big noise when he comes back.
Yeah, so just thinking back to the way his season started, opening round at the SCG, we were there, and then he was the decisive figure against the Giants in Launceston. He looked every inch their best player.
Yeah, he looked all-Australian quality, and that's what they'd always hoped he'd be, and it would appear you know, what we learn and from talking to him, he's a really integral part of their leadership group. Seems to takes great responsibility for what happens with the team on and off the field. So that's an added bonus coming back into that side. So, yeah, it makes for a really interesting night now tomorrow night, and Fox Footy will do a magnificent job, as they always do.
The added layer of intrigue around Carlton centres on Charlie Curnow. So change will come to the Blues, and nobody knows what that change is going to look like. The speculation that he's pondered the idea of a trade. And now you've got Tom Morris and Cal Toomey, who are dialed right into this space, who think that this is at least an active idea, a notion. Now, naturally, Michael Voss shut that down today.
Charlie's a Carlton man, and he'll stay a Carlton man. I'm not sure how much more emphatic I need to be on that. So I appreciate sort of these times of the year, and when you're not going so well, there'll always be some speculation on your players, but it probably ends there for us.
Have you had to have conversations with him? Have you been one of the people he's spoken with about that desire?
No, because it's, again, speculation. So it's very hard to operate and have a conversation, even answer something on hearsay. So, you know, other than to say that, you know, Charlie's a very important person to us, and he'll play out his career here. He's a Carlton person, will stay one.
So unequivocal, as you would expect. So through the trade evolution, you would say that most of these things don't come to fruition, but there's usually a kernel of truth. Anywhere in your mind could you see Charlie Curnow elsewhere next year?
My starting point is no, not under any circumstance, Gerard. Not under any circumstance. That's my starting position.
Yep.
And then just see how it unfolds from there.
Yeah.
But that's the position you take if you're Carlton. I'm not inside Charlie's mind. I know you've got a different opinion, and I'll get that in a moment. Vossi's opinion, as strong as it was, may not matter. And I think that's what you're about to allude to, is that he's not in a position of enormous strength. He's still got a year to go, and hopefully for his sake he gets to coach next year. But there's another man whose opinion matters more than anyone else, and he ain't telling us anything.
No, so Graham Wright has done all the work behind the scenes. He assumes the role as chief executive in mid-August, and we expect that there'll be a blueprint from there. So I think everything is on the table. Part of Wright's job is to relieve the salary cap stress, where they have a handful of players who monopolise.
So that's real,
money.
you think?
I think that part of it is real, and he was unflinching in doing that at Collingwood. He got the $1 million Grundy deal off the books after the fire sale that had happened previously. So they are stressed at the top of their cap.
Right.
So I think there is the possibility that one or two of those players, the market simply doesn't know what Carlton is doing. Other clubs are sitting there going, well, could Curnow be on the table? Could Walsh be on the table? Nobody knows. And if somewhere in Curnow's head he's going, well, I've nearly had enough of this and all the repeat cycle that happens with Carlton over and over. And if he got the tap on the shoulder and going, well, are you open to it? Well, I think there are conversations to be had in August that we won't be privy to.
Yeah, well,
but there'll be a kernel of truth in this that it might end up being the seed for something, or it might just disappear.
It would signal they're going way back.
Yeah.
If they do.
I think they'll have to go a little bit back.
Okay.
But they're going to have to crack their list open to some degree.
Well, Carlton fans need to prepare themselves for that if in fact that happens, because once you are open to the 64, 81, 57 goal dual Coleman medalists, or Harry or Walsh, then you're saying we're going way back. They're hard to find, Gerard. They just don't come along, those players. So if they've got themselves into a situation where Graham Wright looks at it and says, yep, we've got to empty out, well, that's been mismanagement. And they're not the only club. There's others in a similar situation. So it is intriguing. I wonder what Harry can come and knock this on the head. Harry can knock this on the head tomorrow, kick 5 goals. Charlie. Sarah Jones runs out with the microphone. He says, I ain't going anywhere. I love this joint, and here we go.
Kick the first goal, grab the jumper.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, this is when I would take it seriously, when players are then prepared to go, yeah, I will give up $250,000 to make it happen. Because picking up salary like that's hard for some clubs.
Yep.
That's when you know you're fair income.